Thank you for joining in our class because I do admit tonight there are so many wonderful classes to attend, online session to join with, but it's really such an honor to have you here to try to learn about story in the Quran in a spare of English language. Thank you. Welcome all. Ruru, Khairunisa, Shafa, Rizki, Ara, and also our beloved MC Kak Fatim. Hopefully all of you in a very good health and Allah keep you in His blessing. Tonight we will continue to the story of the Prophet from Quran. That is continuation of the event of very big flood that perished all of the mankind, especially the Kafirun. And then we start again from zero, how human and some of the living creatures, which is animals, happen to spread among the earth again and kind of like revitalize the earth. Did any of you know whose prophet that we will know about for today?
No.
No? I think it's a very earlier prophet. Perhaps you can also answer it on chat. The first one is Adam. We've told about Adam. We've covered the story about it and the son of Adam. And then Idris and then Nuh. So after Nuh, there is one prophet that actually quite interesting. It mentioned several times in Quran. Did any of you know? The name is very simple. It's only this. Yeah, that's true. It's Hud. Let's start together. And as usual, like in the past, or for any of you who just joined this class for the first time, I often started with some kind of reading session. So I will ask any of you to read some of passage that I show on my share screen about the story of the Prophet. So without further ado, I will share my screen. And then if you want to become a volunteer, you can chat it on box whether you like to read it, or I will choose one of you by my own choice. Okay, let's see. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh yeah, I forgot. So to make this session become more, let's say, being blessed by Allah, and also in Indonesia semakin hikmat ya. Let's pray it together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi zidni ilma warzuqni fahma birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Oh Allah, please bless us with abundance of knowledge and an enhance of understanding of the knowledge that you will give unto us. Amin. So this is the story of Prophet Hud. Wait a minute, let me share my screen to you. Okay, can you see the screen? Is that clear?
Yeah, Kak. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let me present it to you. Okay, the title of the story for tonight is about the Titans. I don't know whether any of you watch some anime, perhaps. There is a quite famous anime, if I'm not mistaken, Class of Titans. So this is the story. Yeah, Class of Titans, about the giant or huge man. So actually, it actually happened, and it's a fact, happened in our mankind history. There is Titans happen to live among us in the past that being created by Allah. So the title of this share screen for tonight is The Titans, the one who lives among the high pillars. So once upon a time, in the land of someone from Indonesia will become the narrator of this story for tonight. Okay, who'd like to read the first passage? Is any of you want to volunteer? Or I will ask one of you?
Me, Kak.
Sure. What's your name? I can't really see your name on my screen.
Rara.
Rara. Okay, Rara. Please read the first passage until the word pillars.
Okay. Intro. There was a legend in the old history about the only tribe of titans with mighty strength lived on the earth. They have a skill to build a sophisticated home carved in stones on the mountains with high pillars.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Rara. Rara. Okay, Rara. The next passage. Any other? Want to volunteer?
Saya, Kak.
Sure. What is your name? Can you repeat?
Riri.
Riri. Okay, Riri. Please read this passage until the word hood.
Saksi. They forgot the true creator who gave them their fault. Jesus life the brother among them appeared in the sand behind them. He was food.
Okay, nice. Thank you. So still there is two passage left. Yeah, I think. So is there another one who wants to volunteer again?
Rizky, Miss.
Sure.
Thank you.
Please, until true.
Okay. However, they were so stubborn and mocked food persons among them. They challenged him to ask God to bring a devastation upon them if what he said is true.
Okay, nice. Wow, what a good pronunciation as well. For the last passage, the last one to volunteer. Anyone? Oh, all of you, it's very good in participating. It's lovely. Okay, I'm so sorry. My Wi-Fi is a little bit problematic. I will try to reshare my screen right now and move to the very last passage and ask one of you to volunteer to read it. I'm so sorry. I'm being thrown out of the Telegram. Okay, wait a minute. Let me reshare. Okay, could you see the share screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, who want to try for the last passage? Hansa, do you want to try? How to follow? Sure, go ahead. How to pronounce pole? Sorry, can you repeat from the word therefore until palms? Alright. Therefore, is presented. Once a very cold wind being imposed successively for 7 nights and 8 days till they arrived overthrown by the violent tornado like hollow trunks of date palm. All right, thank you. Thanks a lot for any of you volunteer for this story. So this is a very short story. It's a summary of the story of Prophet Hud, alayhi salam, that is being mentioned in Quran. So this is a little glimpse of how the Ad people or Ad tribe, the giant tribe. So if any of you want to know, it's a very fun fact. You can check it on Surah Al-Fajr in Juz Amma when they are being called, if I'm not mistaken, it's around verse 7 or 6. Alam tara kaifa fa'ala rabbuka bi'ad irama dhatil imad. So Allah said to Prophet Muhammad, don't you see what Allah had done to Ad people? Irama dhatil imad. They are so very tall and live in the mountains, in the very high colors. So from according to the Islamic scholars and some of historians, it is believed they are the giant people. So they are so high that this tribe is being perished and never ever existed anymore right now. And like all of you are Indonesian people, including me, we are considered as small people, and perhaps the European is the tall people. But actually in the past there are really a very big, high and giant people that is happen to be Ad tribe. Even it is being stated in the next verse in Surah Al-Fajr, there's never been created before and after this kind of tribe. So this is very interesting. If you ever try to check on your Quran, in the past I also didn't know about this kind of fact, but actually what we see in our fiction about the giant, about titans, is actually happened for real in the story of Hud. So like what you read before, like the last one from Ambar, the story of Hud is quite upsetting actually, how these giant people actually become so proud of themselves and their powers that they can carve their houses or buildings among the stone, and they are very clever in some kind of masonry. But somehow they forgot the Lord or Allah and forgot to worship it properly. They start to have idols again. So Allah chose among them one of them, so which means Hud is also a giant. There is Prophet Hud, and this prophet sadly is being mocked by his own people, and his own people challenge him, and sadly enough, Allah granted their wish by giving a very cold wind for 7 nights and 8 days. So after this, I will show you some kind of visualization, illustration of how it happened, how kind of cold wind can devastate some human, bring a harbinger, bring a destruction upon the people of Ad or the people of Hud. This is the very depiction as well. There is the palm tree that become hollow trunks, like what is said in Quran, and this is the picture. If you can see in my share screen, it's the corpse that looks like a trunk. Okay, this is the video for your eye opening. See? Okay, so what you need to highlight from this short video information, if you check on the Quran, the way the people of Ad or Hud tribe being perished by Allah, it's not mentioned of being distracted by a storm or hurricane, but actually it's by the very high wind, which is represented by tornado. So in our daily life activity right now, the natural disaster that happened that perhaps in the past being given to Kaum Ad or Ad tribe is a tornado. Like being mentioned before, it can happen with a very high turbulence around how much, 200 mph, something like that. So it's quite scary. You will also check from this another fact about tornado to see how impactful and how scary the destruction that Allah gave to this very giant tribe. Okay, and before that, it's been a long time since I give you a very sweet homework. So this is a light pass for you before I showing you another video. I ask you to search the synonym of these 4 words and make a sentence from it, and you can send it to me. Actually, it will be a very long time and duration for you to search for it, because we will see again after Ramadan. But I hope you will try to exercise yourself for your own benefit by trying to learning about the synonym of these 4 words. The first one is win, the second is mock, the third word is consecutive, and the fourth one is overthrown. And like you see in my share screen, I hope you can see it again. This is cool, right? About the wind, about how Quran really depicted very, very detailed. And for your information, you can see the reference of this story in the Quran. Some of it, actually there are a lot. Okay, it's not as much as Moses' story in the Quran, but Hud and Qawm Ad, or Ad tribe, or people of Ad, is mentioned several times in Qurans, notably famous in the Juz Amma, Al-Fajr, from 6 to 7, and also in Surah Al-Haqqah, in Juz 29, and also in the same verse number, 6 until 7. You may check it. The first one will tell about the characteristic of Ad tribe. It happened in Surah Al-Fajr. And the second surah will tell you about the detail of destruction Allah give to Ad. Okay, I hope you just screenshot this slide, okay, for your exercise at home during Ramadan. So this is the last short video that I will show you a fact about a tornado. This is very interesting. So any of you, please don't try this at home or anywhere in your, I don't know, surrounding or neighborhood. I don't know, I think some of places in Indonesia happen to experience some kind of wind catastrophe, like, I don't know, what is it called? Angin topan? Or perhaps puting beliung, something like that. It's still a very, let's say, little wind catastrophe. But what Allah give, like you can see in the subtitles of this video, if you're stuck inside the tornado for more than 3 minutes, you'll be lack of oxygen and pass out. If I switch it to bahasa, jadi kalau misalnya kamu terperangkap di dalam angin tornado, putaran angin tornado, dalam waktu 3 menit saja sudah bisa kehabisan oksigen dan bisa pingsan bahkan sampai mati. Dan mengerikannya sebenarnya bukan urusan kekurangan oksigen saja, tapi di dalam tornado itu rasanya dingin sekali. Temperaturnya yang menarik kalau kita balikin ke ayat Quran, if we choose to switch it again back to Quran, especially in Surah Al-Haqqah, it's mentioned explicitly 7 nights 8 days. In Indonesia it's called 7 malam 8 hari. Can you imagine that? 7 nights and days inside a very, very cold wind, in turbulence circling you, human inside it. If in 3 minutes you will be lack of oxygen, what will happen in 8 days, 7 nights? In the Quran it is said, this human, all of the tribes of the giant, become the hollow trunk of a palms. They died. So if I switch it again to bahasa, mereka semua mati bergelimpangan seperti batang-batang pohon kurma yang telah tumbang merangkas. Kebayang ya? So you can imagine seberapa dinginnya, seberapa merusaknya angin dingin tersebut selama 8 hari 7 malam tidak berhenti-berhenti menghancurkan kaum Ad hanya karena kesombongannya. It's quite scary. If you check on Google, or perhaps if you check on National Geographic, there is a scientific research about frostbite. If I switch it again back to bahasa, ada sebuah penelitian tentang frostbite atau apa istilahnya, digigit rasa dingin ya, karena cuaca ekstrim dingin. Jadi sebetulnya temperatur ini mungkin anak fisika bisa membantu ya. Any of you who learn physics in university or school perhaps will understand the temperature of a very cold extreme weather is equal to the heat, some kind of degrees of heat that can burn your skin. So if I switch it back again to bahasa, dinginnya temperatur di cuaca-cuaca yang ekstrim, kalau dinginnya melebihi entah minus berapa derajat ya, itu seberapa derajat aja sudah bisa membakar kulit. Itu dengan yang masih istilahnya kita tolerate aja udah bisa membakar kulit. Kebayang kalau tadi kaum Ad ini udah mah cuacanya dingin, temperaturnya bisa jadi yang langsung bikin hangus. If you check on another surah, actually there is, I think if I'm not mistaken, it is mentioned that they looks like burn. Let's say in Indonesia gosong. Jadi kaum Ad ini si raksasa besar ini tuh sampai gosong setelah hilang anginnya itu mereka kayak kaku tapi udah jadi mayat tapi gosong. Saking mereka dikungkung oleh angin dingin selama 7 malam 8 hari. Terbayang ya ternyata dingin udara itu bisa membakar kulit bahkan bisa menghanguskan. Ya cuman sebentar. If one of you love hiking or trekking to some of mountains, perhaps Everest, okay, not far to Everest in Indonesia, perhaps in Slamet, Lawu, or perhaps Ciremai, or perhaps Gede Pangrango, and any other mountain, you will see some of the guys who love to hiking or the girls they often wear slayer. What is slayer in Indonesia? Slayer or some kind of skin paste. Okay, let me switch to bahasa. Mereka pakai kayak slayer untuk diikat di kepala atau mungkin yang kayak koyok ya ditempel di hidung atau apa, karena memang udah kalau kita biasa naik gunung juga kita tahu semakin tinggi altitude ketinggian di gunung itu pun udah semakin dingin dan semakin kasar ya anginnya untuk merusak kulit kita. Makanya beberapa orang kalau naik gunung pas ke atas suka mereka menutup diri, melindungi wajahnya dengan masker yang ditutup sampai kepala atau hidungnya tuh kayak pakai semacam salon pas kayak gitu. Itu ada baru hal kecil ya, ternyata manusia tuh nggak kuat gitu. Atau mungkin if you ever check on YouTube in several places that has a very cold temperature yang mereka sangat sulit ya untuk mendapatkan privilege like us in the tropical island gitu, yang kayak air sedikit aja udah bisa mengelupas kulit mereka gitu. Apalagi nih kaum Ad dikasih angin sedingin itu dalam bentuk tornado dan tidak berhenti selama 8 hari, which mean like Allah is very angry and give them a very very severe catastrophe to make them really realize that what they challenge is not human. They challenge God and God has overpowered them, something like that. So that's the moral story for tonight. Thank you for listening actually, guys. I really really appreciate your time to stay until the realization for tonight. And I hope I'm not boring you with this kind of story. Perhaps you may think it's a little bit fiction, but actually it's a story of a real history and fact that being prescribed in Quran, in our religion. Hopefully you got the lesson from it, and also we can apply it in our daily life, perhaps as an inspiration to make us closer to our Almighty God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Thank you for your time. See you again after Ramadan, and I hope you have a very good weekend and Saturday night. And I hope Kak Fatim right now is done with her own business. I will give it back to Kak Fatim. Jazakallahu khair. Hada wallahu yar'ana wa yafazuna. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I'd like to ask any of you if you have some kind of impression, or perhaps you'd like to comment or share your, let's say, experience, opinion toward this class. For any of you, the very new member perhaps, or the old member, or from the story of food that you've heard right now. Is any of you ever heard about this story, or is it new for you about this kind of fact, or do you want to ask anything related to this or English language? It's your time now. 15 minutes from now.
Thank you, Kahani, for the lesson or
Yeah,
the
you're
sharing.
welcome.
This is my first time joining this session, and it was very interesting. Actually, Al-Fajr is one of my favorite surah, but I didn't really, pay attention to the story because I don't know, maybe I'm not really interested with history or something, but tonight I I've learned a new lesson. Like, yeah,
Oh, mashallah,
and the
alhamdulillah.
session was really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank Hamza. Yeah, actually, it's also like what is it, refreshment and re-enlightenment for me as well, because in the past I also doesn't know about it, and I just only memorizing Quran juz amma. I think some of you who ever experienced went to boarding school or pesantren or some of Islamic school perhaps have an obligation to memorize Quran, especially juz amma, but we never really know about what it is said inside it. And for this kind of story, like I don't know I ever told you before or not, but the interesting fact as well, I also write it down on my second slide if I'm not mistaken before. There is Hud and Salih. These two prophets, and Salih will be the next prophet I will told you about perhaps next in Shawwal. But Hud and Salih never ever mentioned in the Bible. So I switch back to Indonesia. Hanya Nabi Hud dan Solih yang tidak pernah di-mention. Bukan hanya sebenarnya, cuman maksudnya nabi-nabi, dua nabi ini menariknya tidak pernah tercatat di dalam Bible. Atau menurut kepercayaannya orang Nasrani, Injil kali ya. Tapi Injil versi mereka, bukan Injil kita ya. Kenapa? Itu menarik, which is I also still don't understand, but even the scholar admit they don't know anything about Hud and Saleh. Only the source they can know about it is came from Quran. So these two prophets is quite special actually in my opinion, because interestingly some of our prophet is mostly being mentioned in Bible, and there is a, let's say, a lengthened definition and explanation for some of them, right? Like what you often read or have heard about Prophet Yusuf. It's being covered as well in Bible about the story of the two wives of Yaqub. Yaqub is the father of Yusuf, right? About Leah and Rachel. But about Hud and Saleh, it's never ever mentioned in the Bible. And if you ever read hadis, kalau misalnya teman-teman pernah baca hadis, ada salah satu hadis yang menyebutkan hanya ada 4 nabi. There's only 4 prophets came from the Arabian desert, yang lahir dari Arab, dari tanah Arab, from the Middle East. And the first, if I'm not mistaken, it's the redaction of the words from Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. Prophets say there are 4 prophets came from the Arabs. The first one is Hud. The second one is Salih. The third one is Shu'aib. And the fourth one is our beloved and holy prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is interesting if you want to know. Like, it's also actually quite a new fact for me. I do not really look into this hadith before. But it means, once again, some of the claims of the West, I don't know, but somehow this kind of West knowledge and teaching is being told to us, right? In our school, some of it. So the prophet is not only came from Arabs, and Allah really covers all of the tribe, all of the races on the earth to be given a messenger. Jadi kalau aku switch back to bahasa, jadi sebetulnya Nabi itu nggak cuma dari daerah Arab ya. And as we know, there are so many prophets actually, but there are special prophets, the 25 of the prophets that being Rasul as well. But from that 25 of prophet and Rasul, only four of them came from Arabians. So it came, 2 of them is Hud and Salih. And once again, this Hud actually is quite often mentioned in Quran, which means there is so many important things and lesson can be learned from it. And if I'm not mistaken, Hud as well doesn't have a biblical name, right? If Noah have a biblical name of Noah, Idris have a biblical name of Enoch, and Adam is Adam, or Hawa is Eve. But for Hud is only Hud because Bible doesn't ever have a record of history of it. And Salih is Salih because, once again, Bible doesn't have any history about Salih, Prophet Salih. So it's quite interesting in my own opinion. And I really, really amazed of how Quran kind of like correcting the history. So if any of you somehow interest with history of Quran or Islam, you may search for more reference in YouTube or in Google, or perhaps in some of Islamic scholars like Nouman Ali Khan or Omar Sulaiman and whatever. You can check it yourself. I think that's also. Is there anyone who want to share again? So yeah, this is story of Hud, and I don't know, it's just really interesting because the kind of destruction is very specific about wind. I'm still questioning about the correlation between a giant and wind actually. It's for my own personal curiosity. Okay, give me your secret or tips to speak fluent in English. There's a question on the chat box, Kak Fatim. Okay. The secret tips. There are no secret tips actually. Okay, for any of you who have a keen interest for language, actually any kind of language, perhaps in this occasion especially about English, the only answer is very simple actually, just practice. That's a very simple answer if you want to know. But if you really want to hear more lengthened answer, it will be very depend on your characteristic and behavior in learning of language. For example, for my own personal experience, I keen to learn from audiovisual and also a little bit of game. I don't know, it can be applied for any of you. I mean, not all people can have it effectively influence their skill of English from game, but somehow if I trace back to my past experience about learning English, most of the vocabularies that I can talk right now came from game that I play mostly. And then also, I don't know, I have this kind of habit in the past when I do not know about language. I often look into the dictionary, especially if any of you know Oxford Pocket Dictionary. So it's the English to English dictionary. I do not check it on the English to Indonesian dictionary, but somehow I read it not to understand the meaning, but I just really want to know how this word, certain kind of word, has on definition of it. But time by time, as I learn more knowledge, I understand more meaning of English and the translation to Indonesia, then I got it about, oh, okay, so this word have the meaning of this, have the similar words or synonym of this and antonym of this. That's in the terms of the vocabulary expansion. But to be fluent speak English is only practice. If you don't have any friends, like in the past, actually I'm quite a shy person, so I often talk to myself. I were doing soliloquy. I don't know how to, wait, let me write it down on chat box. Soliloquy. What is soliloquy? Soliloquy or monologue. Okay, I forgot. Monologue. So if you do some monologue, talking to yourself on your room or looking into the mirror and then just imagine yourself speaking to your other self, and just speak any of language that you want, whether it's English, perhaps Chinese, Korean, Mandarin, what else? French, I don't know, French, German, any kind of thing, even Arabic. I think it will help you somehow. I don't know whether it's effective for you or not, but for me it is. Yeah, try to record it too. That will be also helpful for some of you. And if one time then you have a chance to meet a native, please don't be afraid to try to speak with them. Even though at first you will be so afraid, I know there will be some kind of fear, but it's quite a rare chance, so you need to use it very well and just be brave. I mean, actually, I think native, it doesn't really care about grammar, but they look into the meaning conveyed and delivered from your words. As long as they understand it, they will be okay to talk with you, even with the broken English. And I think that's a very good way to also enhance your speaking skill. I think that's all. If I switch back, gimana caranya bahasa ataupun skill kamu ya, hal kecil yang sesederhana komunikasi seperti ini bisa membantu kamu lebih dekat ke Allah, atau setidaknya membantu agama ya, kalau bahasa umumnya lebih baik. Meskipun itu hanya hal kecil gitu ya, it's a very little effort from our limitation, dari keterbatasan kita. I think it's interesting. That's why when the first time I being offered by Kak Fatim to share here in Full House, I like what Kak Fatim ever said to the old members as well, and so do I. That I will not teach you about grammar or speaking or anything here in this session, because I just thinking like you can search for that in so many other places. Actually, you can give for your own effort if you really want to learn a very basic English skill or whatever. But I really want to dedicate myself lately to make this kind of thing to also enlighten ourselves about the knowledge of our own religion and faith, or Islam. That's why I really glad when Kak Fatim offered me to, hey, let's share our knowledge or a little bit information from other sources about the story from Quran, but we deliver it in English. So it's kind of like a double benefit when you can somehow getting adapt with how speaking in English is being delivered for someone, even it's not their native person, but also you get a lesson from the story of Quran or the one of the fact that being told in our Islam. I think something like that. It's just a suggestion and feedback for myself, and perhaps if there is a good thing about it for you, you can take it as well. It's just my own opinion. So I mean, like, it will be more, I don't know, meaningful and somehow giving a little bit happiness to yourself if a thing that you, let's say, master it atau kamu kuasai gitu ya, tapi meskipun itu kecil dan kayaknya aku tuh nggak bisa apa-apa, tapi ternyata dari hal-hal kayak gini, oh bisa loh ini bermanfaat buat urusan agama aku. Something like that. Thank you.